Hi everybody, my name is Mark Simon. I'm President and Chief Executive Officer of Upstate New York Transplant Services. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to our organization. For the past 30 years, Upstate New York Transplant Services has served the Western New York community by providing services in organ, tissue, eye, and blood donation. And did you know we are the only organization in the United States that provides all those services under one roof? Each year we have the ability to help and save the lives of over 50,000 people through organ and tissue transplantation, as well as providing blood to the many, many citizens here in Western New York. We have a great responsibility to the Western New York community, and clubs like yours are very, very important in helping us spread the word about the need for organ, tissue, eye, and blood donation. I hope you enjoy your tour. Thank you.
Welcome to the Donor Referral Center. My name is Barbara Russo, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about how donation gets started at UNYTS today. In 1989, the Routine Referral Act was implemented, and that stated that all hospitals must contact their local organ procurement organizations about individuals whose death is imminent or about those who have died in a hospital setting. The act was created to spur an increase in potential organ and tissue donors. And this is to help those who are in need of life-saving and life-enhancing organ and tissue donations. It was the beginning of the Donor Referral Center here. And the staff here works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including weekends and holidays, because death comes at all hours. And there are two different types of calls that we take here in the referral center. The first type of call is for potential brain death. This equals approximately 10% of the calls coming into the Donor Referral Center. And even though organ donation is much well known by the public, only about 2% of these calls would be eligible candidates for organ donation. These calls are usually referred to our organ donation specialists to manage right at the hospital. The second types of calls that we would be receiving would be calls pertaining to cardiac death patients. And this equals approximately 90% of the calls that we would take into the referral center. And actually 80% of these calls would end up being eligible for tissue donation. The public is less aware of eye and tissue donation, even though many more people's lives are affected through this. The people working in the Donor Referral Center have a very specialized skill set. A good medical knowledge of disease process is a must. Knowing the effects of those diseases on the body is very, very important. And most of all, the ability to calmly speak with families at a very difficult time is key. When we receive a call from the hospital, information is taken regarding the patient and their family. Also the circumstances of their death, along with medical history and treatment given to the patient. This information is then reviewed and screened by using detailed medical criteria. Every candidate for donation is also checked by the Donate Life Donor Registry to look for a match. And just because you're listed on the registry does not assure that you will be a donor. We do try very hard to follow every patient's wishes, but sometimes it's just not possible. If the patient is suitable for donation, we then call their family and offer support during their time of grief. At this time, we also take the time to educate the family about donation and see if this is something that they may be interested in doing. For donation to take place, a 9-page documentation and questionnaire is completed with the family over a recorded telephone line. And we use this to further document the patient's medical history and conditions. All this happens very quickly, usually within a couple hours of their loved one's death. Donation does not affect funeral arrangements or viewing plans, and there's no cost to your estate or family for you to be a donor.
My name is Alexander for Upstate New York Transplant Services. I'm a blood service trainer here at UNYTS. Behind me, you can see this is our blood room. We are open a few times a week. We do collect blood here. We are a community-based organization. The blood that we do collect, like I said, is distributed throughout the local hospitals. There are many different products that we can use when we do collect a pint of blood. If any of you ever donated before, you know that we do collect a pint. That can be cut up in our lab into plasma, platelets, and red blood cells. Plasma and platelets go to help cancer patients, burn victims, and surgical victims. The red blood cells are mostly for traumas. That's what ECMC uses a lot of for car accidents, shootings, all the stuff you guys see on the news that people lose a lot of blood volume. We also have two different procedures, pheresis, platelet pheresis, which we just take the platelets out of someone, and double red cells, which you take 2 units of red blood cells from someone. There are a few different types of blood types that we do like to collect. Depending on what your blood type is what we want you to donate. All your O donors, we'd like to take double red cells from because it is easier to match blood types for different people. We also have something called baby bags, which we take O positive and O negative blood. They go right to Children's Hospital to save the mothers and the children's. As far as platelet pheresis goes, we'd like to take all the positives, so A positive, B positive, AB positive. We'd like to collect platelet pheresis from them. A negative, B negative, and AB negative, we'd like to take double red cells from. So depending on what your blood type is, if you guys want to come in and donate, we'd love to take you guys. We can set you up with whatever type of procedure would be best for you. As far as requirements for donating blood, you have to be at least 16 years old with a parental consent, 17 with no parental consent, over 110 pounds, and feeling healthy and well the day of the blood drive. There are a lot of deferrals that we do have. Those will be covered in the screening portion of your blood donation, but the minimum requirements, like I said, are the 16-year-old with parental consent, feeling healthy and well on the day of the blood drive, and you're over 110 pounds. When you do come in, we need your picture ID, and just be ready to answer a rather large questionnaire. It's about 50 questions, but that is a screening process that we do need to do to make sure that the blood you're going to provide us is not going to harm the recipient at the hospital. School blood drives are pretty much what we get a lot of our blood from. We love going to the high schools. The kids are really, really excited about when we do come. They're very willing to give, obviously. It's a good thing, community service. The kids, the Donate Life program is a great thing. I think that the more people that are aware of blood donation, the importance of it in the community, the more blood we are going to be able to collect, and you can get the word out about us to the community.
Hi, my name is Christina Petsos. I'm actually the blood component processing supervisor, and this is the blood bank. All the units that go through and are collected from UNYTS as a whole come back into the blood bank and are processed here. We process whole blood into all its different components, which I'll show you a little bit later, from red cells, plasma, platelets, all the different components. Hospitals also do call directly into this lab and order blood products. So this is a 24-hour-a-day facility. They call in, they order the specific products that they need, and we actually package it and ship it, and we actually have couriers that go out to the specific hospitals and deliver blood. A little bit of background for education here. A lot of people have 4-year degrees, biology degrees, also a little bit of med tech. We actually have a couple phlebotomists that transferred over from drawing blood into the actual processing of blood. I actually even have a surgical tech. So it's all type of medical background, ranging, like I said, from a 2-year degree to a 4-year degree, any type of just medical and education background. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of blood that we process in here and all the different components that we make from it. First, what I have in my hand is actually what we call a packed red blood cell. This just happens from sitting in the cooler. The red cells fall down to the bottom and the plasma is up at the top. This happens because the red cells are heavier than the plasma, so that causes separation. This will never happen in a normal body just because your heart is pumping and blood is constantly flowing. But this is how we actually get to separate all the products. When we pull down using a centrifuge or centrifugal force, we pull the red cells down, and then it allows us to express the plasma off, and that's how we remove the plasma off of the red blood cells. If I mix it up, it'll go back into looking just like normal red blood cells. You can still see the separation though up at the top in the segments. The labeling that you see on the front, this is an A positive red blood cell. Every red cell and every person has their own specific type. A, O, B, and AB, as well as having a positive and a negative Rh to it. Each person also can only receive certain types of red blood cells. The type that is the universal donor, meaning it can go to any person, is O negative. The second thing is the plasma that you saw. We actually freeze it in these cartons, and makes it called FFP, fresh frozen plasma. We freeze it within 8 hours of collection. I'll show you what it looks like frozen. Okay, so you can see it looks kind of like just a hard liquid. We freeze it at negative 55 degrees Celsius, and it lasts for an entire year as long as it stays frozen. So you can see this is a different type. This is an O positive. The third thing that we can make is platelets. This is actually not from a whole blood collection. This is from a different type of machine called an apheresis machine, which actually specifically only collects platelets. So it'll filter out the blood in the machine, and it'll give you back your red blood cells during donation, and it only keeps the platelets in the bag. This, you can see, is still liquid. Okay, we keep it at room temperature, 20 to 24 degrees Celsius, and we keep it outside in the lab. We have rotators that move back and forth to constantly make sure that the platelets keep moving. Platelets are the clotting factor in your blood, so if they sit for too long, they can actually stick together and clot. Platelets only have an expiration date of 5 days, so from the time it's drawn to the time it has to go into a patient is only 5 days. So with this, we are constantly needing platelet donors because they don't last as long, so we want to make sure that we're constantly replenishing them on the shelf. You can see that this one is actually a B positive, but the cool thing about platelets is because it's a plasma product, it doesn't have any red cell antibodies, so it can pretty much go to any patient. So we try to recruit B positive and AB positive donors for platelets because their blood can go to the least number of people, but their platelets can go to anybody.
Hi, my name is Darlene Eimrich. I'm Family Services Manager at Upstate New York Transplant Services, and welcome to Family Services. This is our donor family area. We do our support groups here because it's a very safe environment. Families can come here and feel comfortable and talk to us and do our support groups. We also have our comforting quilts that we do with our families. We give every family a quilt to take home so that they have something to take home with them. We give them memory boxes. We go into the hospital. When a family is going through losing a loved one, and we support them through that process. I'm a living donor. I donated a kidney to my brother, and at that time I sat down and talked to my children and told them what I wanted to do, to donate a kidney to my brother to better his life. At that time, Shannon said to me, "I'm really proud of you, Mom, and I hope someday I can be an organ donor and save lives too." Never ever thinking that 2 years later she would be doing that. When I went into the hospital and Shannon was in the ICU unit, after they had come in and told me that she was brain dead, someone from Upstate New York Transplant Services came in to offer me the opportunity to donate her organs. Fortunately, I knew the answer, because at that time I was so numb, I didn't know what to think. So I said yes to organ, tissue, and eye. Shannon helped up to 50 people. It was the only positive thing that came out of the worst day of my life. I had never thought about planning Shannon's funeral. I had always thought about planning her wedding. And because of that, I wanted to be more involved with organ donation. So I volunteered at UNYTS, and then I developed the aftercare program for donor families. And even after we get consent from donor families, we don't forget them. We have a donor family ceremony that we celebrate, their loved one's life. We have support groups right here where they can talk to people that have experienced something very similar. And it's a very safe environment for them. We send them letters and packets asking if they need any grief information. We give them a follow-up phone call. They become part of UNYTS family, and we're very proud of that. that a lot of people that I have worked with 10 years ago I'm still in contact with. And most donor families say that because of organ donation, it gave them something positive to put to a terrible tragedy that happened. And it's a hard time for a family to make a decision. But Western New York has been very generous, and we have a very good consent rate because organ donation does put a positive to something very tragic.
My name is Jack Adfield. I'm a clinical donation specialist here at Upstate New York Transplant Services. Here in the organ department, we coordinate all the local organ donors. We respond to referrals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The hospital will call us with certain patients that meet criteria for them to be potential organ donors. One of us will respond to the hospital within an hour and review that patient's chart to see if they do have any options for organ donation. If they do, we will call in our family services department to be with the family to make sure that they understand everything that's going on, to see where they're at in the process. The worst possible thing that we could do is when a family is holding out hope for a miracle is bring up organ donation. So we can use family services as our eyes and ears to let us know what's going on with the family, what they understand, what they've been told as far as their loved one's condition, because a lot of times people that are organ donors within the last 24 to 48 hours, they were healthy just like you and I sitting here talking, and the next moment their family's being told that I'm sorry that they're dead. Although their heart is beating, their lungs are expanding, their chest is breathing, they're warm, they look like any other patient in an intensive care unit, but the difference is that they have succumbed to brain death. Brain death is a legal definition of death. Although your heart is still beating, you are declared dead. From that point, once Family Services has told us that the family is understanding of everything that's going on, we can then go in and discuss organ donation. When the family consents, we do explain to them everything that happens, that the time could be anywhere from 24 to 36 hours from the time we actually get consent until the time we go to the operating room. We have to run blood tests on every donor. Those tests take between 6 and 8 hours. They're sent to Pittsburgh for serology testing for HIV, hepatitis, and every other disease under the sun. This is done on every donor. Those tests, like I said, take between 8 to 12 hours to come back. So prior to even trying to allocate an organ to a recipient, we have to have those tests done. And you know, there are a lot of misconceptions people have about organ donation, that organs are sold or bought by celebrities or people who have a lot of money. Like I explained, the list is set up by a computer. There is no human intervention. So the patient that is at the top of the list is the sickest patient that there is available for that organ that meets the criteria of the donor. We have no say as to who gets it. The transplant surgeon, the final transplant surgeon, is the one who decides whether he will accept that organ for his patient or not. Not anyone from UNYTS and not anyone from outside civilization, I guess. So we will do everything we can to correct any myths that people may have regarding donation. When allocating organs for recipients, our patient information here in Buffalo is placed into a nationwide database that is based on the patient's height, weight, their blood type. Blood types have to match for transplant. All the patient information is put into a nationwide database that will generate a potential transplant recipient list. This is what is known as the list. That list is, everything's done electronically now. We will send out potential organ offers to recipients, transplant centers, and they will make a decision based on the donor here whether they will accept or reject an organ for that recipient. If they do say yes, we let them know that the OR has not been scheduled yet, and what time we are tentatively looking, because everything has to be done at the same time. Once the donor heart stops, there are very specific time limits for the organs. For heart, you only have between 4 and 6 hours. For lungs, between 6 and 8 hours. The liver and pancreas can be transplanted within 10 to 12 hours. We do have 2 machines here at UNYTS that are kidney pumps that will continuously perfuse the kidneys and keep them functioning for up to 36 hours outside of the body. Most transplant centers do like under 24, however, it has been done up to 36 hours. Once everything is tentatively placed with a transplant center, those centers will come here to Buffalo. They'll fly here on a jet and send a surgeon and a coordinator, and they will recover the organ and take it back with them for transplant. We do transplant kidney and pancreas here in Buffalo. Any other organ, heart, lung, liver, those centers will, like I said, fly here and recover the organs and take it back with them. Everything is done at the same time. The heart is recovered first, followed by lungs, then liver and pancreas, and then the kidneys are recovered last.
Hi, I'm Mary Pfeiffer. Welcome to the Eye and Tissue Lab at Upstate New York Transplant. We are the department that does the recoveries, ocular tissue and all the other tissues that are used for transplant. The 2 tissues that are processed here directly in the lab are cornea and sclera. Those are 2 ocular tissues that we recover for transplant. They're looked at here in the lab. We look at the corneas on 2 microscopes. There's 5 layers of the cornea that need to be evaluated. We do a thorough medical social history and serologic testing. I can show you 2 samples of the tissue, the cornea and sclera. The tissues that we recover for transplant here at UNYTS are the scleral tissue, which is the white of the eye, and the cornea. The cornea is the clear part that covers the pupil and iris. This is a recovered cornea. Our surgeons nationally like to use them closer to a 5-day point, so they are distributed closer to that time frame. We recover the tissue, process it here, do the medical chart review and the evaluation to make sure that it's suitable for transplant. Then we offer it to our local surgeons, send us their request for surgery, and we provide the tissue for them first. Locally is our priority, and then we will, if we have leftover excess tissue that we didn't need before the time frame, we'll offer it to other eye banks. And then if there's no need nationally, we will send the tissue to international programs. These are the 2 microscopes that we use to evaluate the corneas. We do a cell count using the specular microscope. It works hand in hand with a computer program to estimate or count the amount of endothelial cells each cornea has. That is that's necessary to know if the cornea would be suitable for transplant. And the surgeon wants to know how many endothelial cells there are to find out the viability of it. After we do a cell count, we look at the 5 layers of the cornea using this slit lamp. We have a few different magnifications that we look at it on, and then we specify if there's any edema, if there's any stress lines or any scarring or anything that the surgeon might want to know to make sure that it would be suitable for their patient.
Hi, my name is Maureen McIsaac. I'm the Youth Engagement Coordinator at Upstate New York Transplant Services, and I just wanted to speak to you briefly about the importance that our volunteers play. We have the opportunity for youth to get involved with a lot of different events that we do, some local events, some local blood drives, and also we're able to have volunteers come into our offices here and help out with administration work. We also offer community service hours, and we're always looking for volunteers, especially reaching out to our youth who are so vital in the future of what we are trying to do here and to accomplish our mission at Upstate New York Transplant Services.
Well, you finally made it to the end of the tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot. The need for organ, tissue, and eye donation is extremely important, as well as blood. And your message as a Donate Life Club member is very, very important. So the work you do in the school year going forward will make a difference in the lives of Western New Yorkers. Thanks, and have a great school year.